This Soonerscoop.com video is streaming in crystal clear 4K resolution on YouTube thanks to Enjoy Vision in Oklahoma City. From the big plays to life's everyday moments, see it all in sharp focus with LASIK at Enjoy Vision. Enjoy Vision. This is where Sooner Scoop LASIKs.
News team, assemble!
It's back and bigger than ever. It's the Unofficial 40 from Soonerscoop.com. Now, here's the entire Sooner Scoop crew. Carrie, Josh, Eddie, and
George.
All right, welcome back. It is the Unofficial 40 right here from Campus Corner, historic Campus Corner in the Soonerscoop.com studios, and we're welcoming in the entire crew. Josh McCuistion, Eddie Radosevich, George Stoy, I almost forgot his name, Carrie Murdoch. It's just so mad at you for our argument last week. By the way, can I just say, this is what the Unofficial 40 usually is just us being dicks and kind of arguing with each other.
Well,
no, Carrie's a very hateful person, and I think the Nita family should take it very personal.
We did talk to Caleb Nita.
We did
not. Did you speak to him yesterday?
I didn't even know he was there.
Of course you didn't.
What, is that a small joke? That he's not as big as Michael Pasusi?
I talked to Eli Bowen, and then I talked to Tate Sandell, and then I talked to Elijah Thomas. I talked to 3 people. How many people did
fantastic.
you talk to? You talked to Taylor Wine and Caleb Nita.
Yeah, I guess so. Well, I caught the tail end of Eli Bowen. It was a good interview session. We have a practice report here on Soonerscoop.com or on the YouTube channel right now. Taylor Wine, awesome. I think he's tremendous. One of the 9 captains.
I need to go on Sooner Scoop Plus and catch up on those. I haven't had a chance yet.
He was really good. And then I thought Elijah Thomas, that's what we led the show with today. And I think that he was fantastic, and it kind of just, I guess, parlays what he's done in the preseason here.
There were 2 great quotes yesterday. You used Elijah for the cold open.
Yeah.
But, and I think you even had did you have the Tate Sandell, how does Brent Venables motivate?
Yeah, we have it.
He says, okay. He says he looks at you.
He just looks at you.
And he's right. Yeah. There is a look that he gives people that would certainly be motivating if I was a football player.
Yeah. It's nice when Brent is
motivating as a human.
He gives me that look every once in a while, and I'm like, oh, God.
But it's nice when we interview him and he starts walking off the field, and he starts talking to us and being nice and laughing and stuff. So
it's been in a good mood. Well, next time we talk to him, it'll be game week. Kind of crazy.
I got a call before the show started. More apologies coming in from On3 that you were not included.
Work here. That's good.
In the Shannon Terry tweet yesterday.
Yeah.
By the way, you guys out there, incredible. Thank you so much for the support. I don't know how much, how many of you guys are coming from here. We're kind of trying to find that out because it's important. We've sold over 1,000 subscriptions this month, new subscriptions. We basically broke everyone else at On3. Tennessee's doing okay too. They had a quarterback battle. They just named a quarterback, a freshman quarterback. So that, that's always a lot of intrigue. But yeah, thank you. I mean, give it up to you guys, man. I mean, thank you so much for doing it. We still got the deal going, 75% off an annual subscription for new subscribers. And it's not going to last. I mean, the season's about to start. I think they're going to cut this thing off pretty quick. Josh, I don't know if you want to say something, but man, it's been a month for us.
And it has been in a record, as many great months as we've had as long as you and I have been doing this, Carrie. But this is, what's amazing to me is I think it's a response to all the content, how much work the guys have put in, obviously with all the camp news. But like you mentioned with the Tennessee thing, those are things that always sell. Quarterback, coaching change, that kind of stuff always sells. We get it. I am astounded by the response when we didn't have, John Mateer's the quarterback. Brent Venables is secure in his job. There's not the
before,
easy,
George was talking about before, there's not a lot of intrigue going into this camp.
Yeah. So it's been, the response from OU fans has been incredible. But I don't want to say it's undeserved because I think you guys in Norman have just done an unbelievable job. I feel like we've been on top of everything for weeks now.
There haven't been just a ton of preseason storylines, if you will. I think if you're in the OU bubble, of course there's been some of those preseason expectations. But I think it kind of goes hand in hand. The excitement from the fan base kind of goes hand in hand with the excitement for just the generality of the season beginning everything that goes into this year. Because I think that it's certainly far and away better than what this has been in the first 4 years of Brent, like going into the season wise.
Yeah, we were talking about this yesterday, like kind of our YouTube channel and the growth and like where we've had the big peaks and the valleys. And like you guys were surprised that our biggest month ever on YouTube was last September because you were like,
I thought it would have been November when they were going on the run, when everybody was like truly bought in, like, oh my God, they might make the playoffs.
But you remember, like even the message boards, like they were pretty toxic, from when they lost to Texas, like and Mateer being hurt.
Some of us fired Brent after the Ole Miss game.
I mean, the Ole Miss game, but like it took that Tennessee and Alabama, back-to-back winning on the road and the hard-to-kill stuff for everybody to kind of get excited about the season and really, get behind the thought that maybe Brent is the guy.
Yeah. Well, and early in the year in September, it was, they beat Michigan at home. John Mateer's a Heisman favorite, and then they beat Auburn. And I think everybody was like, holy crap, maybe could this team do something special? And then obviously he broke his hand and things went to shit in October. But then, I think winning in Knoxville, I think everybody was like, well, that was an awesome win, but they're going to go lose next week.
Yeah.
And then when they beat
there's
Alabama.
No way they go beat Alabama.
That's when
and then Eli Bowen intercepts that pass, and, they were going up against a guy that only thrown one pick all year, and I
still remember sitting there in the fourth quarter, and Alabama got the ball back.
Yeah, with 3 minutes left.
And I'm like, well, they'll go down and kick a field
goal. And they got
goal.
to midfield even, and it's like,
but even then they were letting, I remember Alabama was like no rush for some reason. All of a sudden it's fourth down. I'm like, holy shit, is OU going to win this game?
Yeah.
Like, it was kind of crazy.
But, I mean, look, you have an opportunity, Michigan week 2. Who knows? I mean, who knows what could happen with this? A lot of it rests on the shoulders of the offense and, John Mateer and that receiving core. And I will say this, as a guy that's not on the practice report with you guys, the one thing that really has stood out to me, Josh, is just the talk of Trell Harris and how I am now like fully bought in that this could be a dude.
That is, somebody literally asked me on board chat. I was just answering that question a little while ago about if I feel like I was wrong, because he was a guy even coming in, even before the injury stuff, I thought, I don't know. I want to see this because I like the tape. It didn't blow me away. Like I was bigger on Rocky Beers than I was Trell Harris, just to kind of put a perspective on it. But the reviews, guys, really, it's just if he shows me what you're hearing on, from all the camp reports and everything George is reporting and all this stuff, if that comes to pass, I was way off. I mean, this guy looks like he's going to be an absolute difference maker, and that's I'm not sure I believe that Oklahoma had that. So if you've got two guys, that's amazing.
Here's my question, George. Is Trell Harris going to be what we thought Deion Burks was going to be?
Well, I think they're different players.
But impactful wise.
Yeah, I think he could be. But I will say, like, when they got Deion Burks, I was like, oh, this guy's going to be a 1,000-yard receiver.
He looked
like
great.
He's going to be the dude for the next couple of years. Like, I was all bought in on him being, like, wide receiver 1. And I don't think Trell Harris – I don't know, maybe Trell Harris could be wide receiver 1, but I think Satania is still the guy there. Mm-hmm. I think, though, that, like, the difference between the two is Trell Harris is a more refined receiver. I think that his route running is better. I think his competitive catching at the point of the ball coming to his hands, like I think he's just a better receiver in that regard. Now Burks is a faster player. He might be more athletic. Trell's a little bit bigger than Deion is. So they're different players, and Deion's spot, at least I think, in his future in the NFL is playing in the slot, which last year they didn't have him play in the. It was Satania was widely the guy in the slot. Trell Harris is an outside guy. Like, he can win on the outside. He's not an inside receiver. So I think they're different players, but I do think he can be a high-impact guy. I mean, somebody asked me the other day, like, what would go wrong? Like, if OU didn't have two 1,000 receivers, don't you think things went wrong? And I'm like, no. Like, don't forget, like, the last time Oklahoma had two 1,000-yard receivers was CeeDee Lamb and Hollywood Brown. Yeah. It was a historic offense. Like, don't have that expectation this year. Now, could they have somebody who gets to 1,000 yards for the first time since Marvin Mims in 2022? Certainly. And I think it's Satania or Trell Harris. I think the more likely thing to happen is, like, you have Satania at 900 yards, Trell Harris at 800 yards, and then Livingston and Elijah Thomas both somewhere around 500, 600 yards. And that would be really, like, if you had that, that'd be great. Because last year you had 900 and you had 600, and then you had basically no one else at receiver. So if you could have something like that where you have a couple guys over 800 and then a couple other guys at 500, then you feel pretty good about that receiver room.
All right, we all know with the schedule that Oklahoma has, you start talking about national championship if you can win a lot of these games. So OU gearing up for possibly a national championship season. Maybe you want to gear up towards better health. And whether you're looking to drop weight, boost energy, or just feel better heading into 2026, Cody Drug has you covered. They offer multiple custom compounded peptide-based weight loss options, including popular GLP-1 medications and performance-focused peptides that help you recover faster, burn fat, and stay sharp. Cody Drug loves teaming up with Oklahoma med spas and longevity clinics to deliver high-quality peptides quickly, safely, and with top-tier service. So, look, while Oklahoma's chasing this national championship, let's chase our personal resolutions together. Visit CodyDrugRx.com to learn more and see how you can get started. Cody Drug, personalized medicine built for champions. And bring Josh back in here for just a second. Josh, you have made Cody Drug a big part of your life and your family's life with your own prescriptions and medications.
Absolutely. And, I was hoping you'd throw this to me today. I actually made an order yesterday, screwed up the order, and they recognized it, called me, and were like, hey, this is not what you usually do. I would have missed it entirely. A lot of places would have just shipped it to me. They corrected it, they fixed it, and I've got the right stuff. It should be here literally today. Like I said, their turnaround is so fast. So I again, kind of above and beyond, not something I would have ever expected them to do. But Cody Drug's been awesome for the last, frankly, year I've been working with him.
Will, you have to know this about Josh. He forgets things all the time, so it's good that you're looking out for him. He forgot to put a picture on a story the other day. Anyway, back to Eddie now, who has great vision, and you do look like Pete Golding today.
I was going to say, that happens to me when I try to order methadone as well, Josh. Life looks different in every
Will.
season of life, Sooner fans, but football season is the sweetest of them all. Whether you were born a boomer or a little sooner, Enjoy Vision can give you freedom from glasses, contacts, and readers, and just in time for kickoff with $1,000 off LASIK, EVO, ICL, and lens replacement. Now's the time to get your eyes ready for the season, no matter what season of life you're in. Schedule your free consultation and join Gen C at enjoyvision.com. That is the letter N-J-O-Y, vision.com. Enjoy Vision. This is where Sooner Scoop gets a fresh perspective.
All right, back to Josh. We'll welcome him back in. And I've thought about this because I know people have been clamoring for the Doom Pod. I don't want to do a full Doom Pod. It's kind of like when people say we want the Drunk Pod.
It'd be like going out of our way to do a Doom Pod. There isn't a lot of Doom.
I could come up with Doom.
I can come up with Doom.
You people are sick.
I'm always ready for that moment.
Look, you guys, it's been how many around the corners have we done without anybody asking if someone's going to get fired or what has to happen for someone to get fired?
Well, we
it's
just
been
have
at least
to get to week 2.
Yeah, so let's see what happens against Michigan. With that said, we did talk about Elijah Thomas, and I do think that this is a big year. We talked about this a little bit on the practice report. They have to develop wide receivers, and specifically guys that are from inside the program, that have started with the program.
He and Manny Choice have to make some plays this year.
Well, just one of them. I don't think they both do. If you can just get one of the two.
If Manny Choice can give you like a Jermichael Carter type season,
sure. That'd be nice.
That's all I'm looking for.
I think he could do that. And I think Elijah Thomas is going to start. I don't know that for a fact. We'll see how it plays out.
Don't we kind of think he and Parker Livingston will both play?
Oh,
yes.
Yeah. For sure.
I mean, I think it's pretty clear who the 4 are. To me, at least.
Yeah.
It's Satania, Terrell Harris, Elijah Thomas, Parker Livingston. It's going to be those 4.
Then Manny Choice.
Then there's another
Jasir
group.
Rogers.
Maybe Jasir Rogers before Manny Choice?
I think it's Manny Choice.
We've seen more from Jasir Rogers.
Jermichael Carter.
I like Jermichael Carter.
Rogers is, and I put this in my depth chart. We can get into the depth chart. Rogers, I don't know where to put him, and I'm not sure the staff knows where to put him because he can play just about any position, but it's also one of those things where the stuff that I've heard about him reminds me a lot of what we heard about Elijah Thomas a year ago, where it was glimpses and flashes, but can he get on the field as a true freshman? Remember what Josh said on the pod last week, the receiver rotation widely, not just at Oklahoma, but across the country in college football is very small. It's not so we might see a lot of Jasir Rogers early in the season. They get him on the field and things of that nature. I think that unless one of those 4 gets hurt or one of those 4 just becomes a bust during the season, I think it's going to be those four, and then I think you'll see Manny Choice, you'll see Jermichael Carter every once in a while. You might see a Mackenzie Aline in the slot who they like, but after that, I think it's going to be hard for some of these other guys to get on the field. And I could be wrong. Steer Rogers, he comes out and just tears it up, then they're going to give him more snaps. But
so
there's a part of me,
the Doom part
George,
of it
well, he's the one that brought up Elijah Thomas.
Just saying, this is a huge year for Emmett Jones. I feel like this is a massive year.
We all
if
agree
you
with that,
wanted to get Doom and say that, one of these positions really needs to take a step.
Yeah, and I think the part of that, Eddie, is like with all these wide receivers. I feel I'm still like I feel better about it than I did before camp, but I'm still like, okay, like I gotta see Elijah Thomas make a play.
100%. But it is exciting.
Yes.
Josh,
Very
go
exciting.
ahead. It's hard to get it, Ed. We've created a monster here.
No. Hey, we love it when Eddie, last week when Eddie was done with all of us with that conversation with Caleb Nita. But what I was going to say is,
minutes, to be fair.
It did. But what I was going to say with Rodgers, listening to Elijah Thomas yesterday and kind of him talking about his maturation, and again, a kid that I talked to a ton in high school, and that's always the fun thing when I get to listen to you guys when you get him in these interviews, these one-on-one scenarios or group, whatever, and see how much they've grown, how much they've changed. And he's just a different human being than the guy I used to talk to. But listening to him talk about how much he had to learn as a route runner and how much he had to learn from Keontez Lewis, now Trell Harris, I've got to think Jasir Rogers is going through that same growth pattern, because this is a kid that he was in Delaware, guys. We know how gifted he is. What do you have to learn in Delaware with his athletic gifts to be a dominant player? Not a lot. You can get by cutting a lot of corners, or in this parlance, rounding off a lot of routes. It doesn't have to be as sharp as it should be at the SEC level. So I've got to think there is exactly what George is talking about. Just kind of how quickly can he fine tune what he's got to. But what I do think is interesting is, you guys talked about Manny Choice and Elijah. As you look at 2027 and you look at the quarterback situation, how much would it benefit OU to be like, look, we've got this guy and this guy, to maybe a portal quarterback, if that's what we end up talking about. To be able to say, hey, you've got these guys, they're going to be back. These are the guys you're going to be throwing to, because I think you're going to be able to pitch a great offensive line. But if you could have a couple receivers, maybe you really are in the market for whoever you want to be at quarterback, again, if that's the path you choose to go down.
And don't forget, Parker Livingston has a couple years left too. So
true.
The expectation is he'll be back next year. And, I feel like there's been this talk about Parker Livingston, he's not going to make an impact on this team, or maybe he hasn't had a good fall camp. He has. He's had a good fall camp. I think that, and he's going to play. I think that they really trust him to play a lot for Oklahoma this year. I just think Elijah Thomas has made so many plays in camp and has been so consistent as just a really explosive player that it's going to be hard to keep him off the field. And then Trell Harris, I think, has kind of blown everybody away in the sense of he's just I thought it might take him some time to get back and be, whatever the receiver that they thought he could be. It did not take him any time.
Because he's a lot more polished maybe than we thought he was.
And so and then again, you have Satania, who you're just not going to take off the field. He's too good to take off the field. So they got guys. I just want to see it all. I want to see Trell Harris catch a football. I want to see Elijah Thomas make a play. That's where I'm at with the receiver room.
I mean, if I was going to go Doom Pod, I would definitely say that the worst thing that could happen to this team is to lose to Michigan in the second game, because I don't see a path to the playoff unless you just run the table and that looks like an anomaly or something.
Do you feel better about the Michigan game now that it sounds like they have figured out who's going to replace Jake Michaela, or they're trying other options?
I don't know. I want to see the UTEP game.
Yep.
I want to see who they try out.
But are you going to really learn
if they play Caleb Nita the entire game, I'm concerned.
Right, but have you read?
Unless he just looks like a badass.
I don't think it's going to be Caleb Nita.
I trust our George Stoya's reporting
that
it's not going to be Caleb Nita. So.
Yeah, have you read my reporting? I've basically said it.
I tweet your reporting.
Okay.
More than I read it. I mean, I'm getting it out there to the world. It doesn't mean I have to read it.
But and we'll see. I don't know if they've made any actual decisions, but they're working other guys. I mean, Ryan Foje is working at center right now. I think that he's kind of the leading candidate to be the center. Now, I think he's got to work on snapping the football. I don't think he's ever done that before. I think that's where I don't think it's a problem of picking up what to do at center or be physically ready to play center. It's more so like, can you snap the ball, accurately to the quarterback?
Sure.
I think is the thing that Ryan Foje has to work on right now. Noah Best, too, I think is getting some run. I think Noah Best is going to start, by the way. Like, I feel
Right guard?
99% confident that he's going to start week 1.
Right guard.
Do you think he starts like he is? Do you think he is their number one option at right guard? Period.
No, I think if Jake Michaela is back, if Jake Michaela was healthy, I think Ryan Foje is starting at right guard.
Okay.
Now, it would be an interesting conversation. Could Ryan Foje play left guard, or Noah Best play left guard? And I like Eddie Pierre-Louis. He's gotten all the reps at left guard, and I think that's who they'd want to roll with, and he's had a good camp. But I do think Noah Best is playing in a way, and Ryan Foje is obviously playing at a high level at every position right now, that if you're talking about best 5, maybe there is a conversation to have about left guard. I don't know.
Well, with Foje, it's so interesting. I was thinking about this yesterday. He's their second best player, at least, maybe best, at left tackle, center, right guard, and right tackle. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's
like
insane.
to think to kind of wrap your head around that. And I almost wonder if there is some to be like, okay, we're going to rotate you in. We're going to give you snaps at a couple different spots, but we almost need you to be our not just a swing tackle, our swing guy.
Yeah.
We're gonna, because if anything happens, we need you to to patch a hole.
And maybe and to your point, Josh, I don't know. Like, maybe they go out and they play well without Jake Michaela, and Michaela comes back and Noah Best is playing so well at guard that they keep him there, and just to keep the continuity. And Foje then becomes, like you said, I don't know. Like, I will say, like, my thought on the offensive line is, yes, they've been a little bit banged up. It's not good that Jake Michaela is not healthy, but I feel better about the depth and versatility of this group than I did before fall camp.
I like the fact that they're having to try and fix a problem, and that's going to give everyone else experience if it happens further down the line.
Like, and I think to that point, like, we all want it to be, and maybe we're spin zoning this right now because we're drinking the OU Kool-Aid. But
I've got some more doom for you.
But I do think that like it is, as much as we would have loved to have, you see all those guys, the 5 guys that you thought were going to be the starters, go through fall camp, which is what we talked about. Like, you shouldn't have to do all the shuffling. Part of me does like that they have figured out that, hey, we trust Noah Best to start for us. Hey, we trust Ryan Foje at multiple spots. Hey, we got Heath Ozayada waiting in the wings that's had a good fall camp, just isn't there right, had the week that he missed a practice. Like, I feel good about 8 different guys that they got on the offensive line right now.
Is it also, maybe you're just looking into too much of this, but they named the 9 starters. 3 of them are offensive linemen. I don't think that's a bad thing at all.
You named the 9 captains?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. 3
Did
are
I say
offensive
starters?
line.
Yeah, captains. Eddie Pierre-Louis, Jake Michaela, and Michael Fasusi, obviously. It's still incredible to me. George mentioned it on the practice report, Josh, but I think he's still 18, 19 years old. He's a captain of a top 10 preseason football team.
But, he's one of those guys, it doesn't stun me. Mike's been so mature since he was like 16 years old. I remember talking to him, and it was just – you never got like the youthful, like, oh, he'll want that quote back someday. Like, there was none of that. And it's not that he wasn't good to talk to. He was mature enough to have the conversation.
Yeah.
But he didn't stick his foot in his mouth. Like, he's always just been a guy that you're like, yeah, okay. It's still, don't get me wrong, shocking to see a true sophomore on the captain's list. But you're like, yeah, okay, I could get there with Mike.
And I think it's one of those things with him. It's like, Josh, he's just a perfect match for Oklahoma's program. Like, he wanted to be coached hard. He's got 2, he's got a main coach in Bill Bedenbaugh. He's got Kevin Wilson. Heck, when a future Hall of Famer like Jason Witten says he's the guy that he's most excited about watching this year, like, that's a dude. I mean, and just going out there looking at him, watching him practice, like, he doesn't look like a lot of people you've ever seen at that position.
Yeah.
He looks, you've seen some of them, but they're somewhere else, and they're eventual first-round draft pick, like at Alabama or something.
And that's why, like, I feel, we'll see with the offensive line, but I feel pretty good about it because I think they got 2 really good tackles. Like, obviously you have Fasusi at left tackle, who is like a future first-rounder, and I think Amarian Harris is a guy that is an NFL guy. Like, he's probably a day 3 pick, but like, he's an upgrade from what you had a year ago at right tackle.
I mean, we've talked about the numbers, but like 25 consecutive starts.
Yeah.
He's played a ton of SEC football.
He's put on like 20 pounds since he's gotten Oklahoma too,
Yeah.
like of just muscle. So like I feel good about that. And then you have a group on the interior where you can do some shuffling. You can try some different things. Now, you want to get your center back. I do think that that's going to be important, is to get Jake Michaela back at some point, especially early in the season. But I think that they do have some options. And, Josh, I talked to Noah Best's high school coach from Midlothian today. And, man, like, the way he talks about him, like, his physical traits, that's the biggest thing. And I've heard other people say this too. But, like, his ability to be there physically and then, like, pick up the offense, I think is what's really impressed people. But, like, this is one of the stronger dudes on the team as a true freshman. And to be able to come in and, be a first-team guy, I think just says a lot about the kid.
Well, the game I picked Noah last year, and I try to think about this stuff as much as I can when you're going to, kind of making out your schedule in the preseason. I picked him to go against Jalen Brewster. I wanted to see, and it was very much okay, he's going to get whipped sometimes. Like Jalen Brewster, for those that don't know, big Texas Tech commitment, arguably the number one player in the 26 class. It's going to be a senior this year. Outstanding talent. And I have nothing but respect for Jalen Brewster. But watching Noah Best, they didn't hook up a lot because Noah was playing tackle. But when you would see them, he was more than a physical match for Jalen Brewster from a strength perspective. So that was kind of when you're like, okay, that's not going to be the problem. Let's see what else comes about. But there is, again, like I'm just impressed by what he's made of. Like, and Carrie, I know you like it, but the comp I keep coming back to is Ben Powers. Like that's where my brain goes on him over and over again.
And their personalities seem to match up from what I gathered.
Kind of that quiet assassin.
Yes, he's the most unassuming player I've ever coached. And like he will kill you basically.
One of the questions I've asked where I was like, why the hell did you just ask that question? Is I asked Ben Powers if anybody has ever told him that he reminds them of the accountant. The Ben Affleck character. They've had the accountant too. Now that's a great series. I mean,
I can't watch that movie and not think of you asking that question. Like it comes up every time I see that.
I mean, I asked it and I just froze because in my mind I was like, how is this going to go, you stupid ass?
Did you guys have any qualms with my depth chart? Anything that really jump out to you guys?
I mean, you're obviously wrong on the 13 cornerbacks.
Yeah, I had somebody they're like, you're wrong on the 13. I'm like, well, you're probably
Got
right.
it.
I am wrong on the
Noted,
third string
as the Barry
corners.
Trammell would say.
Yes, yeah.
To answer your question, no. I mean, I think the running back thing is a little bit of a flip a coin, just in terms of who's going to actually get
be
that
the first guy.
start.
I do think that, like, as much as I love the Lloyd Avant story, and I think that he is going to contribute on this football team, and if he took the first snap, because you have to remember, some of the depth chart stuff and who the guys are that first run out there is somewhat the coaches rewarding guys for being consistent, being, guys that stayed healthy, got through camp and were reliable. And I don't want to take anything away from Lloyd Vaughn because I think he genuinely was really good in camp. I do think, though, you're going to see it's going to be Xavier Robinson and Jonathan Hatton are guys that have a chance to be extremely talented players if they can stay healthy. And while Lloyd Avant might be the guy to start the UTEP game, my bet is on Xavier Robinson probably to start week 2 in Ann Arbor against Michigan. And I think you're going to see Jonathan Hatton a lot this season.
I mean, you just get the sense, like with Hatton, they're just going to give him a little bit more every week just to see how he responds to that.
Yeah. And it could be, the Hatton thing, as talented as he is and physically gifted as he is, it could be a similar situation to Elijah Thomas last year where, they tried to get Elijah Thomas in the game early last season, and it just never clicked. I mean, he wasn't in the right spot he was supposed to be in. He was, making some mistakes. He didn't make plays. Like, maybe they try to get Hatton in and it just is not clicking for him. Now, I do think running back's a position that maybe it's not as difficult to do that, but I just think it feels like Xavier Robinson and Jonathan Hatton is the 1-2 punch that if you could pick a 1-2 punch in the SEC, I would pick those two guys that are 6 foot, 6'1", and 230 pounds and can run 22 miles per hour. Like, sign me up. Like, give those guys the football.
Yes.
It reminds you a little bit of, what was it, Trey Sermon. Trey Sermon's freshman year, and they kept bringing him in the fourth quarter.
Yep.
and the defense was just beat, and then they'd have to deal with Trey Sermon. And that's what it feels like with Hatton to me. Like, okay, we've run this 230-pound bowling ball at you for a couple, series here. Now we're going to bring this guy who runs 10.5, like, and who is also 230 pounds. Like, just as a linebacker, I don't care, as good as you can be in the SEC, you're going to get sick of running into that guy. Like, I mean, it's just it's that kind of speed and power it's rare, it's unique. And George, the one that stood out to me, and I know there's a reasoning behind it, like it's not just pure this guy beat out this guy. Tight end, I don't think people are talking about. Trey Washington sounds like he's doing the right things to make that room even deeper than we've been talking about all offseason.
Yeah, and I talked to Parker about this too. I know he's had some good info on that, but I think that some of that Trey Washington Trene's just kind of slowly gotten better and better. And I think that while he maybe isn't the guy that like early in camp or even late in camp was just making a ton of plays, like he just has slowly gotten more and more consistent. I think he's been learning the position, Josh. Like you go back and you watch his time at Carl Albert, like he hasn't played the true tight end position, and it's certainly not at the weight that he's at now.
We've mentioned it, but he was playing safety in the 5A state championship game. He had an interception in the game.
So I think that it's part that. And then I think the door opened because Jack Van Dorsler has been a little bit banged up. Like, I don't think it's anything serious or anything. I think he's just been limited here and there. And so that's opened the door for Trey Washington to get a lot more reps. Rocky Beers also late in camp, I think, like, rolled his ankle or something. So, again, the door's open, and Trey's made the most of his opportunity. I also think you can just do, like, with Trey's body type and his skill set, you can do some different things with him, like, putting him in a halfback or fullback type of position that he kind of played a little bit in high school, like where you can have him be almost a lead blocker or a guy that even can sneak out of the backfield, catch the football, and do some things with the ball in his hand. So because Hayden Hansen is like your typical just bruiser tight end, big dude, gonna be awesome on the edge in terms of blocking, or at least that's the expectation. Then you have Rocky Beers, who's more of a you can split him out. He's going to catch the football. He's going to be great in space. Not the biggest guy, but he can run and those things. He's 6'4".
And with both of those guys too, they're old dudes. Like they are grown men.
Whereas Trey Washington is more, and even Jack Van Dorsler I think fits this role too. He's like a hybrid. Like he can do a little bit of both. And with the weight that Trey's put on, I think they really like him in some of those bigger packages, and I just think he's getting better and better. So again, what's his role this season? I think it could increase over, the season as it goes, or maybe he's in certain schemes, like I said, in like a fullback-ish type role. But I think that there's a chance we see Trey Washington, higher on the depth chart than maybe people anticipated.
And my only final tight end thought is, guys, Rocky Beers just needs to have that be a mustache. That thing would be serious. Just trim off the bottom, leave it as a mustache. That's a real look right there.
I think Hayden Hansen's probably capable of having like a look of like an old railroad villain or something like that, like somebody that ties a woman to the train tracks.
Well, I hope he doesn't do that. Watch out, good. You're going to get everybody canceled.
We are... This guy's having a sweep. The FBI sweep the office.
I
for
love
bugs.
that story. That's unbelievable. Old mess.
Didn't he kind of basically say, "Yeah, the collective guy's crazy. We didn't really go that far."
I thought he basically said that that's what they did.
They had a player on the team whose dad works for the FBI.
Works for the FBI, yeah.
And that they came in because of the college football playoff, which they do, for all. But yeah, maybe they did sweep.
They probably do it in Norman. We wouldn't be surprised if that was the case.
Would you put it past Lane Kiffin? I absolutely would not.
I don't put anything past
I'm actually
that
a little disappointed that he did it.
Did you see the story today about that he has been working with players about getting out of their contracts or whatever? Like he's been behind the scenes trying to
Lane Kiffin has?
Yeah, apparently
the NFL guys.
Yeah, and so now there's all these talks the NFL teams could sue Lane Kiffin for tampering with NFL players who are under contract.
And that would be a real lawsuit, not a college lawsuit. That would be a legitimate lawsuit.
Between Lane Kiffin...
Well, the NCAA would have cause, too, because he's doing things to hinder their ability.
Wouldn't it be just hilarious if LSU had to fire Lane Kiffin?
Oh, my God.
I mean...
Did you see...
between Lane Kiffin, Kim Mulkey, and Will Wade, that is like a true axis of evil.
How about
Did you
Kim
see
Mulkey?
did you see the penalty though for? I mean, how severe some of those penalties were in the SEC?
It's legit.
50% of your operating budget, basically.
Yeah, and one you would the coach would be suspended for half the season.
Yeah.
I mean it's intense.
But I mean, what's OU's operating? 105, 120 million?
Something. I mean it's pretty. I mean, did you see that too? That it came out today that the presidents voted, the SEC presidents, and it was 15-0, and LSU just abstained from voting. They just didn't vote.
This is
bunch of scumbags.
This is the
Kick
problem.
them out.
I mean, like, this is what you thought the SEC was back in the day. Like,
Yeah.
this is playing out in real life now. Like, and everybody can point the finger at one part, which is I love. Everybody just like, those are the scumbags. It's those guys
It's
right
LSU.
there.
Well,
LSU.
I mean, Kim Mulkey's like trying to start a world war on her basketball team.
So she signed a girl from Ukraine. She goes out and gets a girl from Russia. The girl from Ukraine, her dad's like fighting
He's
in the
fighting
war
in the
right
war,
now.
yeah.
Which, I don't know, is that still going on? And it's just, and she left. She left the campus.
program. And
she
she's
left the
good.
program.
I think she's good too.
Jenny Collar?
I don't know, but she's a center.
Yeah?
I think she's a baller. But I can't believe the thought process there.
It's unbelievable.
And then I didn't like, what's Will Wade doing?
Well, he's like giving R.J. Louise, one of the kids that got the injunction. He like the picture of him giving him a hug inside the courtroom is just like he didn't get off for like murder. Like he got an extra year of eligibility after playing professional basketball, which is a different story. But
How is again? And we know I don't know basketball. How is Will Wade going to field a team if the SEC holds to this rule?
that's a great question.
That's
Josh.
crazy. The numbers that I keep
question.
hearing about.
It's insane. Here's the thing, though, and I know that OU fans have asked, like, why isn't OU going after? Why aren't they scouring, like, who could come back and play? A lot of that is obviously the roster stuff, right? Like, But my question is, like, is it worth it for an LSU to fill up their roster with a bunch of pro guys when they've already recruited well?
Like, here's the thing, like,
do they need them? I guess is my question.
Like,
Yes.
you know, I think that like the guys that there's two guys that the Ole Miss players, the tight end Daquan Wright and Xavier Harris.
Daquan Wright's a good player. I'm not gonna push back against that one.
But like, is it worth the headache of the locker room and everything that goes into it? I don't know. Like now, if Dominic Williams was available in this situation, which he won't be now under these new rules, like I would totally understand Oklahoma doing it. But like the other guys that are available, like I just don't think it's worth messing with your locker room and your culture and everything that goes into that. And it just doesn't strike like, and it tells me that LSU
strike me as somebody that cares about
like,
culture, though.
And not that those guys aren't good players; they would help LSU this year, I'm sure. But like, does it also tell you that LSU, like, is there some concern there that they're not going to be very good if they're really trying this hard to get a bunch of these guys on their roster this late before the season, or is it just a matter of like, hey, we have a chance to add these guys? I don't know.
Well, it's weird because the tight end, LSU probably has the best tight end in college football.
Yes,
the Trey Green kid, that dude's a monster. And so to go to these lengths for a guy that's going to be a depth piece, I don't really understand that. But the one that's interesting is the Xavier Harris kid, because there's a real world where LSU is going to have to play two true freshman defensive tackles like 400 or 500 snaps this year. Now, they are 5 stars. They are dudes. But you don't want to be in that space. Like, you don't want to live like that, week in and week out in the SEC. So I get kind of the fight for him a little bit if he's healthy and if he's kind of over the injury he had. But other than that, I mean, like I'm with you, George. Like I don't understand. I don't think the juice is worth the squeeze, with the exception of the Harris kid. And again, it looks like you're going to be fighting the whole league. At some point, you just got to be like, okay, we lost this one.
Well, and the NFL is. And, like, if you're these kids, what I don't understand is, like, and the NFL's come out now and said that if you do this, if you leave the NFL, if you leave a team to go back and play college football and then you try to come back, you will not be eligible for the NFL draft and you won't be eligible to play in the NFL that same year. So, like, like you're ruining your chances of making it. And that's the thing that
You,
I find.
you basically got a red shirt in NFL.
The thing is, like, I will say, like, there's been this like huge misunderstanding of like, oh, this means all these guys are going to come back. Anybody that's any good that's going to make an NFL roster is not making this decision.
Yeah.
Like, they're not going to be coming back. Like, even guys that are going to make a practice squad would be dumb to come back to college football, even if it is a bigger payday for 1 year, because once you get your foot in the door in the NFL, you stay in the NFL.
Yeah.
And you don't ruin your chances. Because, like, even if the NFL didn't come out with this rule, what NFL team is going to sign up and be like, man, I want to get this guy that left the Browns a day after he played for them in the preseason. I'm gonna take a chance on him, even though, like, it's just stupid from these kids' perspectives too.
It screams, unserious.
Yes,
I mean,
and I say stupid, but like, if you're Daquan Wright and you know you're not going to make an NFL team and your future maybe in the NFL isn't there, and LSU is going to give you $500,000, then maybe it's not stupid. But at the same time, like, my point of, if you were any good, if these players were really that good, they wouldn't be in this situation.
And at the end of the day, like, what are we doing from an NCAA standpoint? I know that we always talk about this, but
Well, like, I don't even blame the NCAA.
Make a statement, say like you just can't do this.
Yeah, but the NCAA has done that, Eddie. Like, the NCAA has made these rules. Like, the NCAA's had these rules.
Sure.
like, we can't punish the player, but we can punish the institution.
Now,
yeah.
if you want to see the NCAA screwed up years ago by losing power and never doing anything to make sure that they had the power, yes. But, like, currently, the NCAA is right in all of this. They just don't have any control over any of it, because these kids can just go get a local judge.
That's the point that, like, angers me just as a college football fan.
Yeah.
Like, there is no power.
Yes.
And it's obviously being, I don't know, kind of, I guess, highlighted now.
I don't know, for me, the way I look at it, and it's probably different than most, but like, I start thinking more and more about how you fix it. And like today I was wondering, are there any entities out there that are trying to work with college athletes to form a union? Because we've got to get to collective bargaining. I asked Roger Denny about that in the small media session we had. Like, what does it look like to you? And for him, he said, it doesn't look like something that we do at the university level. I don't even know how you make it work at the conference level. Like, it's going to have to be, basically the Power Four or whoever. And then you got to worry about, like, if you're Oklahoma, you have a great softball program, and how are you going to, fashion it to where it's, working for them?
The hardest problem with collective bargaining is getting the players to unionize.
Yeah.
Because it's not like a...
And by the way, there are several entities out there working to try and get the players to unionize.
But, like, you have to do it across every school, across every conference.
And you have to do it for a group of players that are like, I'm not even going to be here when this union thing happens.
And a group
I'm
of
just going to
players,
make my money and get out of here.
A group of players that currently are benefiting, too, from
not having
one in some regard, because there's no cap or anything. Like, if you collective bargain, there's a good chance there's a cap on what you will make as a player. Like, so, like, there's some, drawbacks if you're a player. Like, why would we unionize if they're going to pay me $1 million, even though I'm not worth $1 million?
And you know what? As much as we talk about these one-off things, Oklahoma's in a really good position, even in this environment, because Jim Nagy and his staff, they have slotted, they've slotted how much you get paid for this, and they stick to it. And, it's just like with Cooper Hackett, Josh. I mean, it became to where if it's only transactional for you, and I think we've talked about this before, like, Brent probably doesn't see you as a good fit. Like, if you just want to go where the most money is, you're probably not a guy that's going to contribute to the locker room here. And yeah, OU's going to miss out on more talented people, but would they fit in to this environment that Brent has made? So they are able to find guys that are that are turning down. I mean, John Mateer was one of those guys. I think and that was to deal with Ben Arbuckle.
I think they're doing a good job too of just building a complete roster. Mm-hmm. Like, they're not just like throwing a bunch of money around. Like, they're
we
very
got
deliberate.
A rush edge, and we got a quarterback.
Yes.
Like, and that's where all our money is going.
Yes, and so I think they're being relatively smart with their money and what they have, and they know what they have. And we've seen in college football.
My one worry about this system is, the quarterback, and that's up to them. But, like, when you move down the line past John Mateer, like, what does it look like if the quarterback price keeps going up, and OU is just like, well, we're not going to compete with Miami for a quarterback. Like, I could see OU, unfortunately, getting in a position where they just don't have the quarterback that they need.
Yeah. I do think about that, too, because you're going to have to overspend at that position.
Yeah.
Or luck into, like, not luck into, but, like, hope that.
You got to recruit well. You got to develop guys.
A Bo Bentley, like, turns out to be a star.
100%.
You know, like, that's what you would need. And even then you're going to have to pay him to keep him.
Yes. And that's why I get OU fans like in board chat or on, questions on the board, they'll get into that all the time of, well, why does OU even worry about recruiting high school quarterbacks? Because they don't live in that top 1% that can just go every offseason whenever they need to go get Darian Mensah or go get Brennan Swordsmith. That's not OU's world. They can spend plenty of money. Like, I don't want to present it like they're the poors, but if it comes down to it and Miami and Oklahoma need a quarterback and Oklahoma doesn't have a Ben Arbuckle to, John Matiertai or Dylan Gabriel to Jeff Lebby, they're going to lose. Like, if it's just about money, they're not going to win that race. So, with several of these schools. So, I think you do. You have to keep recruiting well. You have to keep finding good talent. And hopefully one of those guys is going to hit and be a guy, and then you can pay him, and he's part of your program and your culture and all that stuff. But if not, you've got to know when you need to pivot. And I think that's like what I was talking about earlier, why 2027 could be really interesting for Oklahoma as we kind of look at them maybe having to make that first real choice in a little while.
And by the way, the reason that – Oklahoma's a perfect example of why high school quarterbacks matter, Josh. Like, the one guy that they tried to fit into the system hasn't even been named the starter at UNLV at this point, a week into their first game.
You got to look at it like you look at it kind of like a
Jackson Arnold.
Like an NFL or an NBA team when they draft someone, and the hope is that quarterback or that point guard or whoever is on that rookie deal, right?
Yeah.
And they all of a sudden they hit at the right moment, and maybe you aren't paying that full price, and then eventually you got to pay the full price.
Right. But he's in your system. But he's comfortable. He knows he can succeed where he is.
Correct. And then maybe he's also for example, if Bo Bentley next year is the guy, which we'll see. I don't know what's going to happen in 2027 at quarterback, but if OU lucks into that where Bo Bentley's ready next year and he's really good, you're probably not paying him as much as a lot of other guys across the country. And then maybe if he goes out and has a really good year, he's willing, and he's like, man, I love OU. We had a great year. Like, I'm coming back, and you know what? I won't take the $5 million from somewhere else. I'll sign the hometown good discount deal because I like being at Oklahoma because we just had a great year. Whatever it is, I don't know. But that's why you have to keep recruiting, is that chance that you do have the guy that ends up being a dude.
Yeah, that rookie deal is a great comparison.
Sam Presti, I want to see him run a football program.
And guys, I did want to say, when you talk about the collective bargaining thing, because you're right, like the players have so much power, and it's kind of like, why would you give that away? I think you go to the guys, and that's part of your pitch. Look, remember when you were a recruit and you weren't worth the $1 million that you got paid because you were the big 5-star recruit? Now we can share that with the senior defensive tackle, and the 5-star defensive tackle can only make $200,000. And it's just like the NFL with the rookie scale. The rookies don't get to represent themselves at the player, at the NFLPA stuff. So the freshmen are going to get screwed on the deal, but that's more money for the upperclassmen who actually are involved in that kind of stuff. So I think that's a deal where, hey, there's more money to go around for the upperclassmen, and we can limit what we're paying these freshmen, which is what the schools want too.
Yeah, I took a look, and it's just, AI stuff is wrong all the time, but I just asked it, like, what organizations are out there kind of trying to work with college athletes. There was one that was it listed one that was very football specific, one just with women's basketball, trying to unionize them. And the more I looked at that list, the more I think, well, this is going to take like the non-revenue sports to probably unionize first and then bring everybody along, because they're the only ones that care enough about it to actually, George was talking about.
Football players don't want this.
No,
for
it doesn't
the most
benefit
part.
them.
Like, I think Stanford football has one, which of course Stanford
they do.
does. But
Stanford is repped by one of the football one.
But OU baseball would probably benefit from a union and collective bargaining and things of that nature. But like OU football, I don't know if they some of those players would want to unionize. And it's just like you said, these guys aren't going to be here, by the time it actually gets done. So it's like there's no real motivation for them to get it. That's why I don't think collective bargaining is ever going to happen. I think it has to be federal legislation that's going to. I will say though, over the course, and we can move on to more football talk in a second. But back to the original point of these conferences and the NFL and guys coming back, I do think we're taking a step in the right direction in the sense that the SEC, Big Ten, ACC, and Big 12 are all aligned on this. And it's baby steps, and it's an obvious thing that to agree on in terms of not letting these guys come back and play if you have signed or played for an NFL team. But I do think it is a good baby step that all the Big Four, Power Four conferences said, we're not allowing this shit. We're not going to let this happen.
And do you feel like this is almost like a test balloon to see can the conferences kind of do some stuff? Can they make some rules up on their own? I feel like this is a test. And then, okay, this worked. All right, let's push it a little farther and see how far we can get out there.
That's exactly what I think.
I mean, is Lane Kiffin going to go to district judge and try and get some
I think eventually, ultimately, LSU is going to reach a point where it's we're fighting everybody in college football. It's kind of like Texas Tech. Eventually, they were just shit out of luck.
Yeah,
and credit to Big 12 for shutting that down. I think the same thing's going to happen to And again, if I'm Lane Kiffin, I'm sitting in my office right now. It's like kind of what Josh said earlier. Are these guys really worth going all this length to? Now at LSU, they might say it is worth that length, but
well, the other thing is, if I'm a donor, I'm like, okay, why can't we build a roster like everybody? We have so many advantages to build the roster. Why do we need to step over this line?
This is fueling my,
the potential for disaster.
This is fueling my take, though, that I don't think LSU is going to be all that good this year. All of this,
they're going to such great lengths to try and get players.
You look at their
team, everybody's leaving a bar, and you have that one buddy that wants to stay around and talk shit. It's like, the Uber's here. We got to go. Season is here.
Yeah. When I look at their roster on paper and I'm like, yes, it looks great. They have a lot of really good players. But I'm like, man, all the stuff off the field eventually is going to bite them, right? All this turmoil, all this bullshit, going on around their program. I just feel like it's going to be so much noise, and at some point, I feel like during the season it could hurt them. And at the same time, I also do think I'm just not a believer in Sam Leavitt, so that's also probably some of my in terms of, I think Sam Leavitt's a nice player. I don't think he's a Heisman Trophy winning quarterback.
He had a really good year and he had a really good game against Texas, but I don't know if he's a leader or not.
Yeah.
All right, Josh, I know we were talking even before the show started. You guys did the recruiting report yesterday. I was just looking at your pictures. Eddie was talking about it before the show started, but man, Cooper Witten's becoming a dude just from getting off the bus perspective.
Yeah, he is I was telling Eddie, you never know with what guys will become. Bare minimum, Cooper Witten's an S&C guy for 30 years. He is a weight room dude. You can see it all over him. He puts in some real work. The thing that I came away with seeing him is you're giving Oklahoma and Brent Venables and Nate Dreiling and Skalski and all the linebacker, kind of mind hive that they have there in Norman, a guy that has every tool you could want. He runs, he's big, he's physical, he'll mix it up. He can do all the stuff you want him to do. I think he's still learning to be a linebacker. And if you put that guy with that kind of brain trust, if they can't teach him how to be the guy they want him to be, nobody can teach him. And so I think it's a perfect fit because you're getting this unbelievable raw ball of clay and you're getting some of the best sculptors in the world to work with him. So it should work. There's every indication that it should. And again, Cooper's not one of these kids that's not going to take to coaching. He's been around coaching literally his entire life. So he understands what it looks like, what he's got to do. So, I'm going to bet on the physical tools matching up with coaching. Guys, it's not unlike Kenneth Murray. We always talked about, if Kenneth Murray could just put it all together with all his physical tools. Cooper's not quite that level of athlete, but he's not far off. And that's kind of what it makes me think of okay, but look who he's going to go learn from. And I think that could – and obviously I say that as Kenneth Murray was a first-round pick, so worked out pretty good for him too. But Cooper is a special talent, and I loved what I saw. I mean, the guy just finds different ways to impact the game.
Well, but with what you're saying, Josh, there's a name in my head, Jaron Kanik.
That is, and again, like that's there's that outlier there. There's that outcome that is possible. I would say, what I just said there at the end, he impacted the game more as a receiver with 3 touchdowns, which again, it's hard to match that.
And every time you've gotten to see him, you come back talking about how impressive an offensive player he is.
He is. He's a very skilled receiver. I mean, again, he is the son of one of the all-time great tight ends. And it shows. Like, he shows a knack for getting open, working to space. Now, what he did largely on Friday night when I saw him was run past a couple of defenders. Like, it was just pure athleticism. But he did have one where it turned into kind of a scramble drill for his quarterback, and he just finds himself right there at the near pylon in the corner of the end zone. Quarterback finds him, drops it in over a linebacker, and it's a touchdown. And so there is nuance to him. And I think that's what I notice with Cooper is as an offensive player, I think he's got better feel right now than he does as a defensive player. Where a defensive player, it's like, I'm an incredible athlete. I'm bigger, stronger, and faster than everybody out here. I'm going to make some plays just, running around doing stuff. As he refines himself, again, if you can channel all that, he'll be unbelievable. Like, it's just a matter of, I think people are going to see that ranking and be like, well, he's going to show up and be a guy from day one. Give him time. Like, just let him grow a little bit, and I do think you're going to have a really good player.
That was kind of the kickoff of what's going to be a pretty active, I guess, next couple of months, really. But you got a big trip coming up this weekend to see, I would say, like maybe one of the biggest names and somebody that's going to be in Cooper's dad's room next year in Seneca Driver and Kellan Hall, who OU continues. We've talked about it over the last couple of weeks. Seems like OU, Todd Bates and crew have positioned themselves with the #1 player in the country.
Guys, there's so much to see in Kentucky that I don't think I'm going to get. Like, I've had people hitting me up, you going to distilleries? No, I'm not doing any whiskey stuff. I got games to cover, but I am jacked about this. Is as fun a trip as I should see in a while. Kellan Hall, going to see him on Friday night. The big 2028 defensive lineman, I think, is absolutely in the running to be the #1 overall player in the class of 2028. He is a special guy. We've seen him at camps. I've never seen him in a game, and I'm really anxious to watch that, see what he looks like, just see how advanced he is. Because we know, kind of like what I was just saying, all the physical tools, they're there in every way you could ever hope with Kellan Hall. He is a specially talented guy, but I want to see, kind of like, we heard, Todd Bates and some others have talked about Jaden Jackson and why he was so ready so early on, and why Tank Carrington has impressed people early on. Stuff like block recognition. How well is he picking up what offenses are trying to do to him? Because being the guy he is, offenses are going to focus their entire energy around him, not letting him just wreck what they're trying to do. So I think that'll be a lot of fun to watch. Then on Saturday, going to make a trip a little south of Louisville, go over to Boyle County and watch Seneca Driver, Oklahoma's big tight end commitment. Guys, everybody is talking about the runs. And I mentioned this with Parker on the recruiting report yesterday. I love the efficiency of Seneca Driver. 2 carries for about 136 yards. That'll do. It's just like that dude is just a freak. And if you haven't watched the tape, go find it. Our guy Charles Power tweeted it out. He's like 6'6", running away from probably normal-sized human beings, but they look like little kids chasing him around. And he is just running away from them. It's impressive.
I did kind of think of that Peyton Manning Saturday Night Live sketch where he was just pegging kids with footballs. Because there's one where he runs around the corner and the guy's got the angle and he just blows right by him anyway.
And then the thing I'm excited about, because you always wonder a little bit, especially when you make a big trip like this, is the receiver I'm seeing, is his quarterback good? Is he going to get the ball enough? They're using him as a wildcat quarterback. So cool. He's going to get some touches, get to see him do some stuff like that. That's going to be great. I can't wait to watch it. And what should be a pretty good game, actually. I believe the team they're playing was I think finished 10-3 last year. So Boyle County's like a superpower out in Kentucky. I think they've won 4 of the last 5 state titles in their division. So they're a really good team. They're playing a good team. It should be a fun game to watch. And then on Thursday night, actually, just kind of as a quick aside here, Probably going to go make the trip up I-45 and go see Keldred Ben. So it'll be my first time to see him in a game. He's getting his season started on a Thursday night. So should be a football-heavy weekend. And then, try to sit down and watch what college football I can on Saturday.
Jealous. That sounds like an awesome weekend.
I'm excited.
Yeah, we're doing a lot of trips. We got to get the. Should we bring up what's going on with Michigan?
No, we'll give them time.
Okay.
We'll give them time.
There may be a campaign launched. We're waiting with bated breath.
The Big Ten's just, I'm sick of them.
I've never liked the Big Ten. It just seemed old.
I like the idea of the Big Ten. I like this rivalry that the SEC and the Big Ten have right now. I don't know if it's a rivalry. You would probably ask them it's not a rivalry, but
I'm just glad we get to be a part of it. Could you imagine sitting in the Big 12 right now?
Oh, my God. I was telling my dad that the other day. It is kind of crazy now that we're, I guess, getting ready to start year 3 in the SEC with Oklahoma. It's just like, I don't even really think about the Big 12 that much.
What I wonder about in the Big 12, I do wonder, if OU and Texas were still in it, would Texas Tech be looked down even more as just a team that's trying to buy a championship?
Possibly.
I think they would still be.
Do you think that they would have won the Big
OU
12
and Texas
last
were in the
year?
Big 12, there's no way they're doing that monster deal. I can tell you that right now.
Yes. No, I don't think either AD would be like, no.
No, I don't think Tech would have won the Big 12 last year. I think OU and Texas would have played for the Big 12 championship.
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
Now, I do
agree.
think that OU and Tech would have had like a heck of a game. Like I think it would have been by a heck of a game.
And if they would have played in
would have been
Lubbock,
like 10 to 7.
6-3 bloodbath.
Yes, yeah, it would have been very low.
If they would have
scoring.
played in Lubbock, if you told me that Tech beat them, I wouldn't have an argument against that.
Yeah, and I think the same with Tech. I think Tech could have beat Texas last year too, depending on. I just think though that the more likely scenario would have been that OU and Texas end up playing each other again in the Big 12 championship.
Did you guys see the graphic that Rivals put out that was like the top 10 top 12 commitments
signees.
and they were unanimously Texas.
It was every one of them. Was Texas Tech.
That would not have been the case
tweeted
with
something, I was
OU
like,
Texas in there, yeah.
And you still there were people when the initial rankings came out, they're like, oh, it's just biased against the Big 12. I'm like, no, you just don't have the same talent. You can't pretend that you do. You've got one team that clearly does, and there's not a lot else in the conference. There's good pieces here and there, but don't tell me there's a bunch of NFL guys all over the Big 12 because they're just not.
And look, whether you want to argue about, how tough the SEC is versus the Big Ten, the one thing that Tech isn't getting is they're not getting that week-to-week test to show where they are as a program.
Yes.
We may not have enough depth at running back, or we may not have the tackles that we need. And so it's going to be difficult for them to, raise themselves up to the level of
that's
the
why
best teams
we
in the
didn't know
country.
we didn't know what Tech was last year, and then they got trounced by Oregon.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay, well, they were. And don't get me wrong, Tech was good. It was a really
They
good
did
football
what
team.
OU did for many, many years.
Yes, and then they got to the playoff and got their ass beat.
Got exposed a little bit.
Yes, and but it was we didn't know what to expect because they hadn't played anybody, and it was like, well, they beat BYU, and it's like, well, BYU has a quarterback that wears number 47. That's their best competition,
And he can't throw a pass. I mean,
and no offense to BYU, they're a program that's always overachieved. They're always a really solid,
got a
good
great
team.
coach.
But if that's the best team you played on your schedule, there's a lot of teams in the country that would have won 11 or 12 games on that schedule.
I love that the kid wears 47, but there's a roof there's a ceiling to that. I can't take you seriously at a national level if your quarterback wears number 47.
Correct.
I'm sorry, that's just in my brain. I love that he's doing it. I love the story. I think that's fun, but you're a fun side story. You're not the main story.
I've kind of changed a little bit because, as you all know, I don't like small numbers on defensive tackles.
Unless
But
you're a badass.
If you're,
Unless you're
if
all
you're
American.
David Stone, you can do it. Perrion Winfrey, I was okay with him.
Bishop Thomas?
Bishop Thomas got to prove something.
Okay.
Nigel Smith.
They do look
They have-
good.
they have
though.
a lot of
I
guys
like that.
with,
I don't think I realized that they're all single digit.
The one that needs to change is Jaden Jackson.
67
Yeah,
or
he
65.
deserves to have a low number.
Yeah, but he feels like a 90 something to me.
Oh,
Like,
I see what you're saying.
he's like a defensive tackle that's 99, and
Or
it's
yeah,
just like,
96, something like
something
that.
like that. Yeah.
I think the most positive story that I took coming out of camp was Noah Best sitting on Jaden Jackson at one point.
Yeah, who said that?
Foj.
Foj.
I wonder if that was an exaggeration because I don't know.
I think what he meant was like he
sat him down.
sat back
Down.
and just
Yes.
stoned him.
Yeah, he didn't
not
like
he-
sit on him.
Not like he
Yeah, he
just
flat-backed him.
Yeah.
Not like he sat on him like a chair.
like pancaked. Yeah. Yeah.
Eddie, do you want to put on the helmet and show us what sitting on a block is?
I can. You want me to?
No, please God.
Behind the window. We need you to go outside the office.
We might have to
I've been
send
working
you.
on
We might
some-
have to send you a helmet, Josh. We're thinking
working
about
on
improving
my
your
drop
set step a little bit.
About to lose all the
love it,
microphone
Eddie.
and stuff. Bill, Bill, did you see this? Did you see this, Bill? I'm ready to go. Walk for
I
Gotta put a
did
cigarette
hear-
in your mouth though when you do it.
I know.
It always
Now I'm
plays
all-
better.
all
Now
aboard.
you're.
Oh
and
no!
This is
Turn
gonna-
his
the
Andrew,
audio-
go turn his mic off real quick so he can readjust without
To,
making a
to
whole
buy
bunch
him
of noise.
to buy him a minute, Eddie's former high school O-line coach did reach out this week. Was quite pleased that he was mentioned last week. So
His mic is this. This is going to be bad audio.
Defensive line, Josh.
I think he turned.
is
you
that
off.
right? I thought my mistake. I thought that was your position, coach.
Okay, you can turn it back on,
Offensive
Andrew.
line coach at Northwest.
Was
There
the
we
great Corbin Frank, Coach Frank. Shout out.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Coined the nickname Fast Eddie for multiple reasons.
I cannot believe you went so hard you knocked your mic off.
Well, these things aren't like the easiest to stay on.
Hey.
We're good though.
Eddie doesn't go below 10.
The only thing that I am
He
a
stays
little
up there.
embarrassed about is how out of breath I am now. But that's okay.
So, do we want to? Is this the part of the pod where we bitch and complain that OU gave Brent Venables an extension before the season?
I was shocked how many people had an opinion about that.
I wasn't shocked because I remember what happened the last time he got an extension.
Yeah.
But it came off of 6 and 7, and this came off of.
This one was
I
a
don't even
big. This
remember
one
what
was
the
a
record
bigger
was last
raise
year.
too than the last one. Last one I think was just $1 million raise.
And it still puts him what, 7th in the SEC?
Yeah, I think he's like 6th or 7th.
Do you guys think it's important to have some type of chemistry, for lack of a better word, but just like the alignment with Brent and Jim Nagy? Like, is that an important thing? I think that's something
think-
that a lot of
and
people
Denny, I
point to. Is it important?
I think it's important. I think that, look, would I have done this at this time? Probably not if I was in Denny's spot. But I do understand why they did it. You know, I think it was a thing of showing some continuity, also showing like, hey, like this is and I know there's been a lot of people talking about like, well, who were they? Like, no one was coming after Brent Venables, and that's a fair point. At the same time, like, this is just what whoever is the head coach at Oklahoma, that's what they get paid. You know,
Taking
like,
care of the people that you employ, though, isn't it like what you do?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I do
just is-
understand. I do understand though people's argument of like you could have just waited till after the season.
Sure.
At the same time, like if OU does have the year that they expect him to have, like you technically wouldn't need to give him another. Now, if they go win like the national championship, then yeah, you're gonna have to pay him a lot more money. But like if they just go 10-2 and they lose in the first round again, you don't have to give him another raise or extension. Like you know you could keep it at where it's at. Or if they go 9-3 and they win a game, like you could probably still keep it where it's at. Based on the escalators that are already built into the contract. So I think Denny is just a very my take on Roger Denny is like he wants to know how much the university is spending. And so from his perspective, he's like, I know he likes Brent Venables. He thinks he's a good coach. And he's like, I want to know how much we're going to be spending on our football coach, and I'm not going to have to be scrambling after the season when we're paying all these players in the transfer portal to do a whole nother new contract when I know that, like, we're good with Brent for a while. Like, I think that was kind of the perspective. I don't know if that's what you took away, Carrie, but, like, talking to Roger that day when it broke, like, he just strikes me as somebody that's, like, trying to plan way ahead.
Yeah.
And I think he's making a bet. Like, he's gambling a little bit, and if you really do believe in Brent, like, then this is a no-brainer deal. Like it's not like OU suddenly said, we're going to make him a top 5 paid head coach in college football. The guy's it's not even top 15, I don't think, depending on which, like if you do the annual thing, then he's around top 10, but like this year he's going to be like right at 15th.
We're learning some things about Roger Denny and kind of how he operates. He's very calculated in everything he does. And I think that was the Brent thing was something that was like, if we do this now, it set things in motion and everything's going to fit as we go along. And don't have the distraction at the end of the season. Like, is Roger Denny happy with Brent Venables? He's like, yes. And he even said, like, basically, no matter what happens this season, he's going to be our coach because he's set such a good foundation here. So
he also said, he made an interesting point where he said that a lot of times people have a quick trigger to fire a coach when that's not always the number one issue that the program had and for why they failed. And I think that their belief is that if OU were to not, be great this year or not have the season that we anticipate, it wouldn't just be Brent's fault, which is true.
We saw that with his first decision that he made on the job, right, with Porter?
Yeah. And so, I think Porter's everybody's kind of compared it to that. Porter's a little different because Porter's not had really any true success that Brent's made the playoff.
Sure.
He's winning recruiting battles left and right.
They have a top 5 recruiting class in the country. Like, they have a good foundation with Jim Nagy in the front office. Like, I think there's just a lot of belief that they have the right people in place, and that I also like all of this to say, I think we need to wait and see what the buyout is and we'll find out in September at the Board of Regents meeting. I just have this feeling that the buyout is not going to be as large as some people think. Like, I don't think
like the $70 million and all the Jimbo Fisher.
I don't think it's going to be like it'll be high, I'm sure, but I don't think it's going to be as high as what a lot of people think.
Which I've never understood why schools are just like, oh, this is what's left on your contract. If we want to fire you, you just get all this money. Like that, maybe it's the Jimmy Sextons of the world that don't allow that to happen, but how do you not allow that to, have that in your contract so where like, hey, you have some confidence in yourself that you can do this, right? Like, we have confidence in you too, but lots of things happen, and if we have to part ways, we're not going to pay you all the money, but we're going to give you a really good, parting gift, basically. But nobody does that. It's just like Jimbo Fisher. He had $90 million left on his contract.
I will say that one thing, too, to keep in mind with Denny is that he made his career on doing these contracts. For example...
And as you mentioned, Brent gave $1 million back.
To the program, which I don't know if he's doing that this year. We'll have to, again, once we get the official contract, like stuff like that I think might be in there. But we'll wait and see if he does that again this year. But to my point on Denny, for people that don't know, before he was hired by Illinois, he worked as like a consultant with multiple Big Ten schools writing coaches' contracts. Like that was his job as a consultant.
He actually openly mentioned that he was a part of the USA Today coaches' salary.
He made that.
Yeah.
He made that. Like the one that you go and search the database for all the salaries, like he helped make that database for USA Today and I think sold it to him. But Brett Bielema's contract at Illinois, Brad Underwood's contract at Illinois, like from what I understand, and I can't tell you a ton about coaches' contracts and what's all in them, but he started a new wave of how coaches' contracts are built from athletic department side to save them a little bit and give them some wiggle room to get out of contracts if possible. I guess the way he wrote those, which was before he was even hired by Illinois, but the way he wrote them was that Illinois was like, we got to hire this guy full time. And so that's why he got hired by Illinois. And so that's why something tells me that when we get our hands on this actual contract that there's going to be something in there that allows Oklahoma some wiggle room where they wouldn't have to pay $60 million if something were to go wrong.
Yeah. Look.
Again, though, I do understand the timing is odd.
It was awkward. We weren't ready for that.
No.
That was the last thing on my mind.
And I knew they had been discussing, because I remember back in January talking to Joe C. and I knew that they were in discussions with getting Brent a new deal, and I just figured when they hired Denny, that was going to be put on the back burner until after this season, just because it was new AD. He doesn't know Brent, all of those things, and especially as I had heard, back in the spring that maybe it was brought back up, but then I was like, and then it kind of died off in the summer. So I was like, I bet they just wait till after the football. Or like, I mentioned to somebody, I was like, if they start the season, like if they hadn't done this deal and they go beat Georgia and then they go beat Texas or whatever,
they might have to pay them a lot more. Yeah.
That would have hit like crack for OU fans to be
How
like,
do you know what it hits like?
Or like, what's funny? I was talking to
interesting.
I was talking to, I think, my dad about this.
Scary
but I was
that
like,
I think that you might
what's
know.
funny is like if they would have announced this deal the day after they beat Alabama or even LSU at the end of the regular season, if they would have announced this deal, people would have been like, "This is the greatest deal! What a great job!" Like
Hard to kill.
Yeah, you guys are.
Well,
the
he
best.
mentioned that he liked where the market was, like to do this deal when they did.
So,
and he's hoping that ends up being a good deal for the university. He's thinking of the university side, not so much like, I got to be, I got to make Brent happy with me as his AD. Like he's like, his price could go, skyrocket if they have the kind of season that potentially is out there.
And if they go and lose in Ann Arbor in week 2, then we'll say it was an awful deal.
Yeah.
And we rip it up and we fire everybody and we're off to the races.
Yes.
That's just how it works. By the way, this TCU deal,
crazy.
I can't believe it.
And Kerry, the thing is, he's in Ireland right now. If you don't know, TCU's beat reporter for the Star Telegram out of Fort Worth.
By the way, the only full-time outlet that covers TCU.
Well, I don't know if that's true because I do think there's a 247 site, but newspaper like real media, like. Well,
and I bet that
media,
person
but
probably has
media.
another job that covers works for TCU.
But like this is like his job is he covers TCU football for the big. It'd be like the Oklahoman, all of a sudden was no longer credentialed to go to OU football games. It's insane.
Yeah,
it's over
ridiculous.
the fact that so Nick Harris, who works for the Fort Worth Star Telegram, former Rivals guy, then worked for the Cowboys for a while. He had tweeted out the following. Stephen M. Johnson is the reporter, has been told that the decision stemmed from the victim receiving threats after the reporting, but Stephen never identified the victim until the victim himself made a public statement on his Instagram about the assault 3 days after his initial reporting.
So which player got kicked off?
So the player outed himself as being the victim.
Yeah.
And he did not, but that's why TCU said that they were banning him, because he brought
That's insane.
threats.
I've never heard of that. And I was telling George before you got here, Kerry, that I feel like, did Mark Cohen just retire, the longtime SID for TCU? So I feel like this is a first decision for somebody.
Well, Conte was,
Well, he's the athletic director.
the athletic director, yeah. Oh,
I think Mark Cohen was the SID, though.
Okay.
I thought he was the longtime SID down there, and he ended up retiring.
That does sound right, yeah.
And so now, like, this is the first decision, quote unquote, for whoever's making the decision. It sounds like nobody's making a decision.
Well, it sounds like that's something the AD would be signing off
the
on.
receiver, Josh, was somebody OU recruited, right? Dozie? Ekukama?
Was an OU commitment for quite a while.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, had the brother that was at Tech, right?
Yes.
Yeah, Dozie was committed to Tech. When Emmett came, he flipped to Oklahoma and then decommitted, I want to say in like November, like pretty late flip on OU there.
So I don't know, like, which one's which, though. I don't know who
You don't know if Ezekama was the victim or the puncher?
Dozie got punched.
Dozie got punched by Jacob Fields, the safety.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yep. And Fields
in the
got
locker
kicked.
room.
Apparently.
Yeah. I mean, off the team. Sorry. I don't have any
they
idea
kicked him off.
Yeah. Yeah.
They kicked the safety off.
Yeah, it sounds like he
he's gone.
basically sucker punched Dozie. I mean, that's what it
And they
reads
probably
like.
kept punching him because he was out. He's been out like for a while, right?
Their SID has been there now just over a year. He was hired in July 2025.
I mean,
So my
talk
guess
about
would be
just
that he got bullied by the coaching staff into banning that person.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's
Sonny?
comes from Sonny Dykes.
Yeah.
If I had to guess.
Why would he be so? I don't
Dykes
understand
has
why
done
he'd be
stuff
so
like this
mad
before.
about that. Usually he's really cool with
his
the media.
locker room, he looks like he's lost his locker room if he's got guys beating each other
And he didn't
up.
have a great year, and he lost his quarterback to
Yeah.
Indiana.
Yeah, I mean, that's wise. He doesn't want it out there. But, like, if the guy assaulted somebody, like,
I feel like these coaches
and
have
it's
to
reported to the TCU campus police, I
yes,
believe.
yeah, like this was the reporter just was going off of police documents. It's not like he
crazy. It's absolutely
And look,
insane.
people out there all the time like, oh, you won't be critical because you'll get your credentials revoked. That's never going to happen at OU.
This has never happened.
No, but this doesn't happen
You would think it
anywhere,
would never happen at TCU.
He's in Ireland right now, but he can't go to the game.
Right. But when a player gets kicked off the team, people say, why did he get kicked off the team? And he said, because he punched another player in the locker room. He didn't name the player that was punched.
It's crazy. I think it's going to get worked out in the end, but it's a bad look for TCU.
It's a terrible look.
I mean, yeah, it's going to be a shitstorm for them, too. I mean, they're going to get, I wonder, like,
They're
obviously
playing
TCU,
North Carolina in Ireland.
Obviously, TCU is got a lot of money, but I would imagine the Star-Telegram will take some sort of legal action.
Yeah.
And I think they would have a real path to win if they actually – ultimately, I think TCU will take this back and be like, we fucked up.
Yeah.
How many times can schools do this kind of shit before they realize like it's the dumbest thing? You never come out ahead on it.
Yeah.
You just
USC
can't-
when they tried it.
You
a few
have
years
to
ago.
wait until emotions calm. And if Sonny Dykes was someone that going, he needed to have the AD talk him off the ledge and say this is a terrible look.
Like it's like one thing if like the reporter did something like totally inappropriate or wrong or whatever, but like he's just reporting on your player that like you're the like if your player didn't do this, then it would never be an issue. It was filed in a police report.
Yeah,
like,
if he'd have written like a fake story, got it, no problem.
Yeah,
like, he's making you look bad wrongly. This is your in-house problem that got reported, and and again, he didn't give names. He could have been more vicious than he was.
I'm not even sure he's the one that broke the story. Like I think
it was
looked into
probably
it. It was
like
247.
Okay.
That they're the ones that actually like were like, hey, an incident happened in the locker room where another player assaulted another player, and like then the Star-Telegram looked into it and got the police documents and reported it.
Yeah.
Like that's what happened. Like
It's crazy. It's nuts.
yeah. Surely TCU will fix that, but insane. I couldn't believe that today. Also, in other news, ESPN getting rid of the ticker at the bottom of the
I hate
games.
it.
Like
I
on
hate
ESPN, like you know how you have the ticker with all the games that tells you the scores of games. See ya, no more.
They got rid of
In
it.
college football. I knew
Why?
you would say that.
That's another one of those things. Like I guess people have been bitching and complaining about it. I'm not quite sure. Like I remember the one thing that people were upset about was when somebody would score, it flashed yellow,
Yes.
and people thought it was a
I
flag.
remember Big Cat
I
was
can
big
understand
into
that.
bitching about
I
that.
can understand that.
Yeah.
But there's just something about a sports network having a rolling ticker that I don't know if it's nostalgic or if I just like it. I like the presentation.
Yeah, but let me ask you guys this. Now, when I was younger, and you guys were probably all the same way, is you would legitimately watch it to see the scores of the other games. I haven't looked at the ticker to find out who's winning what game in forever.
I just like.
I just look on my phone.
It makes me feel homey.
I wonder if this is like their attempt to try and get you to watch things on their app or something.
Somebody tweeted that watch, they're going to say, all right, you can get the ESPN app, which never works, by the way. It's the worst app
It's not good.
on the internet. They're going to make you pay like $9 for it or something now. Probably.
Well,
I-
they did raise the
I wouldn't be
price
surprised.
already of the ESPN Unlimited.
I will say the side-by-side pictures that people have been tweeting out of like what it'll look like without the ticker, it looks pretty clean without the ticker.
I've never thought that it looked jumbled, though. If you want to do something for the subscriber or for the viewer, take all
Here's
the
the thing.
effing ads out of it.
Here's the thing, like when they show replays of like someone tiptoeing out of bounds or not, it's like you always wonder like, oh, if the ticker wasn't there, we could just see it. But we're going to find out like they just miss a lot of shots. Like or somebody's head is in the way and you can't see it.
I just like, but
because
like,
I think a lot of people blame the ticker for why they can't see.
I do hate the ticker when
replays
it says
sometimes.
like I love the score stuff for sure because I still watch it every once in a while, but like most of the time I'm on my phone already and I'm looking at the scores, so it doesn't matter. But I do hate this stuff over here where it has like promoting the next thing, like the UFC or like U.S. Open.
Oh, they'll still
or,
flash little promotions down in the lower third.
You would think so. Like somebody said, like their thought is that give it a couple weeks and it's going to be like it's going to be a ticker of ads.
Yeah.
Like it won't even be scores anymore. It's going to be just then that's when I'll get pissed when they do that.
It's just going to be running quotes of McAfee and Stephen A. Smith just on the bottom.
That's what I was going to say. If your goal is to declutter, have they watched the Pat McAfee show? And again, that's no diss on Pat. Like, it's a great show. Everybody watches it. But it's got stuff all over the screen. Like, he's like a little window in the middle of the page.
That's because he controls production of it, so it's not like
Sure.
as professionally done as ESPN show would be.
But they can't stop putting him on stuff.
Him and Stephen A. are the only people that work there, basically.
Apparently.
He's got.
I'm getting
Josh,
close.
He's got,
I'm getting close to getting sick of him.
As I'm learning, he's got the demographic that everybody wants right now. So
True.
people love watching shows where people cuss. Young people. And he does it more than anyone
for it.
else.
I don't think it's about like cussing, and I've always said this, like even going back to when we first started the pod, it's not cussing, it's just acting normal.
Right.
That's how people talk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's like their disclaimer at the beginning of the show. It's how normal people talk in the real world. When you're talking with your boys at the bar, you might drop an F-bomb every once in a while.
But they also replay the clip of the 9-year-old calling in and
It was
saying,
great. It was
But
funny.
I
It's
do
hilarious.
think McAfee. I don't really care for watching. Like whatever you think of McAfee as a person. I think the show's kind of. It's gotten to a point where it is like yes, it's just the guys talking, but like I don't give a shit what his crew of little guys have to say about whoever. Like I could care less what they have to say about.
I like when they get into football mode.
Yeah.
And it's like 2.5 hours of like just straight up, this is everything that's happening in the NFL.
well, like what keeps it tolerable is having Saban on as a regular and having J.J. Watt on as a regular.
Because if it was just them just chatting, I'd be like, I don't.
It's a little.
I don't
It's a
care.
little playgroundy at times. Yeah.
Yes.
But to each his own. We're a little playgroundy sometimes.
I do think though that their ESPN is getting to a point where they're oversaturated. Like you can't have McAfee
100%.
on Monday Night Football and
Well, I
College
showed
Game
you
Day and have his show throughout the week. It's like it's too much.
I showed you the PR email I got the other day, and it's like everyone on the set, and Pat McAfee's in the middle. Like I've never watched College Football Game Day for Pat McAfee.
And I actually think he's not bad on game day. He's not.
He's
of
gotten
course, though.
better. He's
not
because
bad.
he's paying more attention.
I don't really just care for his daily show. I feel like I get nothing out of it for the most part. But
I don't
we'll
watch
have it on just because it's one of the only things on.
it's the only thing on,
Yeah.
and that's why the viewership's high too. It's like people. I think there are a group of people that like to watch it, but part of the reason the viewership is so high is because it's the only thing on TV.
yeah.
Yeah, that's sports related.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't even have the Fox Sports Oklahoma anymore to watch crappy programming on that.
I do remember there was a period. This was when the McAfee show was getting really big, when I was covering the Broncos, and it was when Aaron Rodgers was going on every single day. It was like every single day or every single week.
And then it became Thursdays or
Well,
Tuesdays
like, and
or
I
whatever.
had to tune in because the Broncos were in on. It was like before they got Russell Wilson, everybody was like, "Oh, Aaron Rodgers could end up in Denver," and so like I'd be like, "Well, I got to watch because he could legitimately
Hackett
get
was
on
there.
there. Yeah, and he could legitimately get on there and say like." I'm going to Denver. No one knew what he was going to do, and I was like, "This sucks. Like, I don't want to watch this all day."
It's kind of like, Brent has his coach's show when we have media availability, and we're sitting there trying to monitor.
Yeah, I know it's hard because like I want to talk to the players, but Brent a lot of times says stuff on his coach's show that he doesn't normally. Like he's much more open on the coach's show sometimes about stuff, and it's the first time he talks on a game week.
Yeah.
Before he talks to the media on Tuesday. So.
And by the way, guys, everything's going to be moved up next week. So Sunday will be the first media availability we'll have because it'll be just like a Monday. So we haven't really talked about moving our shows around yet, but we'll probably be doing that. I think everything
Will just be accelerated a day, like it
this will
normally
be
is.
Tuesdays. The Unofficial 40 will be on Tuesday. And then, because we won't want to have it Wednesday with the game after we've had all this media stuff.
We need to find a UTEP reporter if we're gonna.
Or game day preview.
I wonder if we should get like Staples.
Didn't Parker
or,
run a UTEP site before
did,
he joined
he
us?
did.
Maybe he should just come in.
I forgot about that.
But no,
we get Ted Cruz.
We should get like Staples.
we've
or
been talking.
somebody on.
We've been
Yeah, we can
talking
do that. That'd be a good
internally
idea.
about kind of changing the format of the game day preview, which I think we're going to explore some this year. But practice reports will stay the same. The game day review with Josh, more from him during the season, which is going to be great. And he's probably going to be sitting there working on his Monday morning idiot at the same time he's doing the show. And then any kind of instant reaction, big news that comes out, that'll happen. But yeah, it's going to get much more structured here, where we'll have game day rewind on Mondays. Usually we have the recruiting report on Tuesdays and the first practice report. Then Brent Venables is Tuesday. We'll have Brent Venables practice report, just detailing his press conference. And then that night we'll talk to players and do another practice report. And if we can fit in around the corner once in a while, we're going to try and do that. And if game day preview just doesn't feel right, we might just start having it around the corner instead of game day preview. So, I mean, game day preview is kind of like our third practice report. So a lot of times it's the interview and a small,
Yeah, some overlap.
So I don't know. We'll see how the viewership does, but we appreciate all you guys. I mean, the viewership has just exploded, and I was hoping that we'd get to 25,000 by the end of last season. We're over that now. We don't buy any subscribers at Sooner Scoop, so you don't see a big jump in our numbers. It happens steadily, but during the season it happens more and more. So
stay vigilant.
We appreciate you guys. Guys, anything else, Eddie, George, Josh, anything you wanted to hit on before we get out of here?
No, I will. Just a quick recruiting note. The Jay Shell, big-time linebacker out of Georgia, announced he's down to 2 today. Clemson and Oklahoma. I think Oklahoma's in a really good spot there. He's supposed to be there for the New Mexico weekend, which, guys, weirdly enough, is kind of looking like a big visit weekend. I think they're going to have quite a few major dudes that weekend, so that'll be kind of fun to watch.
New Mexico, quiet. They're a sneaky team that can make.
Don't sleep on the Lobos.
That could make the college
that game. OU's going to win that game. I bet New Mexico makes OU fans sweat to an uncomfortable level.
We've talked about it before. I think Jason Eck's fantastic.
He's the next head coach at Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Correct.
Good luck to Wisconsin and Florida State. I know things are starting off the season so well for all of you out there. Florida State plays Saturday. I'm excited about Saturday. The games are kind of dog shit, but at the same time,
I'll watch all
I'm so excited about watching NC State, Virginia at 2 o'clock.
Is New Mexico State playing next Friday, too?
Well, they play Saturday against Florida State.
They play against
OU plays New Mexico, though.
Well, I'm saying I'm thinking of UNLV is what I'm thinking.
Yeah, UNLV plays Saturday
Okay.
against Memphis. It's the night.
Memphis, which may be the best game of the day.
And I think Huff's a really good coach. I don't know what he has taken over, what he inherited at Memphis. That should be a decent football game, though, this weekend.
Yeah, I mean,
like
the spread's 5.5. The other game that should be good, and I don't know if the teams are any good, but
USC and San Jose State?
No. USC's probably going to score 70 in that game. But the NC State Virginia game.
Yeah.
Two, just middling
ACC
teams,
game right out of the gate.
I think the line's 1.5 or 2.5. It should
love
be a close
that
game. So
we love that.
I'm telling you, the NC State quarterback, the Bailey kid, one of the more underrated quarterbacks in the country. That dude can play. He's fun.
All right. I will tell you guys this. Eddie is on the case. He's looking for a Buki Radley Heil sledgehammer.
I got to find the sledgehammer.
Yes.
If you know how to get a hold of Buki, if you know where it's at, maybe it's somewhere here in Norman, I will find that. I would love to have that
and
as part of the.
You can keep that at your home.
I would love to have that as part of the set here, to have the sledgehammer that Buki ran out with.
I'm not allowing that, no.
And let's just be real clear. We're talking about a physical sledgehammer that hits things. Like we the jokes are there, but we're talking about the sledgehammer. So let's just be very clear.
I told you guys I was out on the sledgehammer after the Peach Bowl, after the just ridiculous targeting that got him kicked out of the game.
Unreal.
That caused us to realize that, hey, what do you... Washington's a pretty good player.
Woody Washington?
Yeah. That was his debut, and he did okay.
Got thrown to the Wolves against one of the best offenses ever.
Ever in the history of college football, yeah. And some of the
I think that
best
LSU team was
college
pretty good.
receivers ever on the same team. Maybe the best
All-time
duo.
hot take. I remember standing outside of the hotel in Atlanta doing a radio interview, and I was like, I think they can slow this team down. Burrow's good, but he's not And then looked up at halftime. I was like, I think I'm going to go into the media room. I don't even know if I want to stand out here.
Didn't Justin Jefferson have 4 touchdowns in that game or something? Yeah. And he was the number 2 receiver. Jamar Chase was the guy that everybody was like, oh, they can't guard Jamar Chase. And I remember Parnell Motley did an okay job against him somewhat, but then it was Justin Jefferson lining up against Justin Broyles, and it was just a disaster.
It was over.
It was so bad.
Oh, God. I was ready for Spencer Rattler to start after halftime in that one. All right, that's going to do it. We appreciate everybody for tuning in. By the way, 75% off still going. Still going. Come steal our money. We invite you to do it. Over 1,000 of you have done it so far. We really appreciate it. Sooner Scoop by far.
We're basically
price.
like Bonnie Blue. Just get in here. Get in here. 75% off.
All right, I better get out of here. It's getting weird. That'll do it. We'll see you next week for another edition of the Unofficial 40 podcast right here on Soonerscoop.com.